Welcome to the Workers' Reading Room. Tonight I will be reading Chapter 16 of F.I.S.T by Joe Eszterhas, but first a quick recap. The previous chapter began Part 2 of the novel, jumping ahead 20 years to 1960, with F.I.S.T being one of the biggest unions in the country. Johnny, still head of the Midwest, visits F.I.S.T headquarters in Washington, D.C. and meets with Max Graham. The union president has been living a lavish life, with the union headquarters resembling more of a palace than anything. Later on, Johnny is visited by Abe, who is still working in California. Abe reveals that Max Graham has been taking money from the union in a variety of ways. Johnny assures Abe that he will look into it. Discovering that Abe was correct and Graham is corrupt, Johnny uses the information to force Graham to step down and endorse Johnny as the new president of F.I.S.T. The chapter ends with Abe confronting Johnny and the two once again parting ways with moral differences. And now, F.I.S.T, Chapter 16. It was a headline item on the NBC Evening News. In Miami Beach, Chet Huntley said, the Federation of Interstate Truckers held its annual convention and elected a new president. He is John J. Kovac, a self-styled street kid from Cleveland's slums, until now the head of the union's Midwest Council. Sitting in his Senate office with Dave Roberts, his administrative assistant, young, crew-cut and buttoned down, the best the Harvard Law School had to offer, Cole Madison got up, walked to the television set, and turned the sound up. Well, he said, Babe Milano must be happy today. I ought to send him a telegram congratulating him. Cole Madison laughed. He was one of the Senate's brightest young men, the biggest vote-getter in the history of Rhode Island, a man of limitless charm and, so it was said, limitless ambition. Although Cole Madison had always been coy about his ambitions, preferring instead to dwell on his myriad accomplishments for his loyal constituents back home. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth in Newport, Rhode Island, the youngest son of Clayton Madison, eccentric hunter, philanthropist, and historian who merged his family's 100-year-old textile operations with the Mammoth Atlantic Mills Corporation, thus restructuring his family's vast fortune so that its mainstay became the business of investments. Clayton Madison, a Yankee blue blood, had a lifelong love of the American West. He collected old saddles and six-shooters, established a Western museum in New York City, and named his youngest son after Cole Younger, the Missouri outlaw. He died when the boy was 6 months old, and Cole Madison was raised by his stern and monosyllabic mother, whom he disliked from a young age. He had none of his father's love for the West, though as he grew older his mother kept telling him that he did share many of his father's lesser qualities. He grew up in the family's compound in Newport, in love with the blazing blue sea and its crystalline air, with tennis and sailing. Even as a boy, he was an excellent sailor, disdaining the broad-beamed catboats indigenous to Narragansett Bay for small, Marconi-rigged sloops and snipes. He was always a loner, maintaining distance even from his two older brothers, and especially from his mother. He went to St. George's School and he was profoundly bored. He tried to dodge the chapel service as much as possible and was twice almost dismissed for violations of the honor system. He found the place stodgy and dull, discovered women, easily attracted to him, at a young age. He had socially egalitarian traits, concerned only with the wealth of their bodies, and escaped to the sea as much as possible. While he routinely accepted the comforts of wealth, he rebelled against many of its manifestations. He despised balls and Adirondack camps and girls from Radcliffe who wore short-sleeved, round-collared McMullen blouses purchased at Peck and Peck. Girls who, as Cole Madison liked to say, had nothing between their legs and not much more elsewhere. He went to Yale Law School, graduated with honors, further bored, and didn't know what to do with himself. Unlike his brothers, he had no wish to manage the family's finances, to grub dollars all year, as he told his mother. A week after Pearl Harbor, against his mother's wishes, he tried to join the U.S. Army Air Corps, but was told that all enlistments had been temporarily suspended due to an overload of volunteers. Undaunted, He heard about a traveling Army recruiting board in Little Rock, Arkansas, and drove there nonstop without even saying goodbye to his mother. He sold his car, filled out the forms, took his physical, appeared before the board, and was accepted as an aviation cadet in the Army Air Corps. He loved the service and he loved flying. He was trained at various bases on the West Coast, went through advanced single-engine training at Luke Air Force Base in Phoenix to be a fighter pilot. He graduated in mid-September 1942, a pilot and a second lieutenant, assigned to a squadron in the 8th Air Force at Grafton Underwood Airfield in England. In July 1943, he was shot down over the English Channel by German fighter attack planes. He was flying a Republic P-47 Thunderbolt, a fighter, as escort for a group of B-17 bombers returning from a bombing mission of German submarine facilities near Antwerp. A machine gun bullet entered the lower part of his fuselage, passed upward, and struck his thigh. Instead of returning to base, he proceeded to shoot down 3 Messerschmitts before his plane was hit again and spiraled into the channel. No one saw a parachute. In September, his mother was notified that her son was missing. In October, she received a notice that he was officially dead. In November, she received a letter from Cole. He said he was being held in a German POW camp. He had pulled his plane out of the spiral to the extent that he was able to belly land in the channel and leap out of the cockpit before it was cracked up and sank. With the aid of a Mae West, he had splashed to the French shoreline and was given shelter by a French farmer. That night, German soldiers had taken him captive. In January 1944, Cole Madison escaped from captivity as he and a group of POWs were being moved to a new position camp deeper inside Germany. Traveling at night, he made his way to Allied forces. He had not only come back from the dead, in Rhode Island a memorial service had already been said for him, but he had also escaped from the Germans. His heroics made headlines throughout the East Coast. At war's end, he resigned his commission and went back to Newport with the Purple Heart, the Distinguished Service Cross, the Distinguished Flying Cross, and 2 air medals. He spent 6 months sailing, drinking, and staying in bed, never alone, and never with the same woman for more than a week. In the next year, 2 events took place which would change his life. He met a Radcliffe girl unlike all Radcliffe girls, and he met Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy, the Democratic Party boss of Providence, the weightiest politico in the state, literally and figuratively, who asked him to dinner. His mother disliked the girl and despised O'Shaughnessy, and, naturally, they became 2 of the most important people in Cole Madison's life. He met the Radcliffe girl at the Ida Lewis Yacht Club. She was from Pittsburgh, heiress to the Nash steel fortune, summering in Newport. Kathleen Langford Nash was 5'5", blonde, brown-eyed, streamlined, gracefully elegant, and perpetually tanned, and she possessed, as Cole laughingly told her the first time they kissed, fine tits. She was quite proud of her tits, Cole Madison soon discovered, as well as of her all-around sexual prowess, and the morning after their first night together, he told her, "I've always said Radcliffe girls have nothing between their legs and not much elsewhere." She smiled, and you can't possibly be a Radcliffe girl. Kitty Nash, she dreaded Kathleen, was an irreverent, iconoclastic young woman with a vitriolic wit who disliked other Radcliffe girls as much as he did. She took one look at Cole Madison's sprawling family compound and said, "It really is a nice little place." She told his mother that she adored Newport because it was so charmingly passé. When Cole Madison saw how much his mother disliked her, he was convinced. He asked Kitty Nash to marry him. "Will you cheat on me?" she asked. "Probably." "Will you love me when you cheat on me?" "Without a doubt." They were married in 1948 and moved into a large broken-down mansion in Providence. They began repairing the house themselves, and he went to work as a corporate attorney for Jameson, Finch, and Endicott, the biggest international law firm in the state. A month later, Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy called him. O'Shaughnessy was an old coot of a street politician who stayed away from Newport as much as possible. He didn't like the very rich, and the very rich, who accurately considered him crude and vulgar, didn't like him. He liked what he called little people, mill hands and factory workers and the men of the shipyards. He drank beer with them and kept track of thousands of birthdays and anniversaries, and every election they turned to Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy for his advice. "Why did you want to see me?" Cole Madison asked O'Shaughnessy, a bear of a man, over dinner. "I want you to run for Congress," Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy said. "Why me? You came back from the dead and you escaped from the Germans. You can become a legend." "Do you think I can be a good congressman?" Cole Madison asked. "Now what in the hell does that mean?" Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy laughed. "Let me put it this way," Cole Madison said. "Do you think I'd do well in Washington?" "Absolutely. Why?" "Two reasons," the big man smiled. "You obviously know how to survive. We know that from the war. And in the course of my research, I discovered that you showed a rather cavalier attitude toward the honor system at St. George's. That, my boy, is a winning combination." Cole Madison laughed. Bored with the law firm, he agreed to make the race. With Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy beside him, he campaigned hard. He kissed thousands of drooling babies, attended innumerable clam bakes, and shook hands until his right hand was swollen. He was a fine campaigner. His boyish charm and his blonde good looks attracted the women. His masculinity drew the men. He downplayed his background, made fun of it even sometimes, referring to St. George's as that boring high school my mother made me go to. He spoke up everywhere for little people, the poor, the elderly, the men and women trying their damnedest to make a living in this country. They listened to his fiery, idealistic words, delivered in a staccato, hard-edged style, and when the speech ended, it was basically the same speech everywhere. They asked him what the German POW camp had really been like. On election night, with only one precinct out, he was trailing by 102 votes. The precinct remaining was where Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy had lived for 38 years. Cole Madison went to Congress by 43 votes. It was said that some dead men in the precinct voted 4 times that day. But Cole Madison ignored the scuttlebutt, made a fervent and high-toned acceptance speech, and moved to Washington with Kitty. He was re-elected in 1950 and 1952 by wide margins, and in 1954 he was elected to the Senate in a landslide. Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy taught him well. He went back to Rhode Island often, campaigned hard for other candidates, had an excellent legislative record in Washington, and kept making idealistic speeches for the little people. He was liked by his fellow senators as well. He had natural charisma, a wide following, but he went out of his way to play the game by the old rules. He deferred to seniority and to Senate protocol. He enjoyed sitting around the Senate cloakroom with the powerful Southerners and shooting the bull over bourbon and branch water. In 1956, at the age of 69, Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy suffered a massive heart attack. "You're the best I've seen, Cole," he said 2 days before he died. "You can be the President of the United States, even without me." Cole Madison held Daniel Terence O'Shaughnessy's hand and said, "It would have been a landslide with you, Danny." O'Shaughnessy smiled painfully. "Bide your time. Use the Senate. Find a big issue. Ride it into the White House." In 1958, Cole Madison was re-elected to the Senate with the biggest vote in Rhode Island's history. That same year, he became chairman of the Senate Rackets Committee. He had found his big issue. He barnstormed the country, always in fundraising efforts for other candidates, talking about the power of organized crime. He was a Snow White figure with blonde hair battling the forces of corruption. It was the perfect issue. No one could really disagree with him. He became more and more electric on the stand, crusading, gathering bold headlines all across America. There were those jaded Washington gossips who said Cole Madison had gone to Congress thanks to Nazis and dead men and was now about to ascend to the White House atop a black cloud of his own creation. But Cole Madison denied presidential aspirations, always with a smile, took good care of the little people in Rhode Island, and reminded Americans everywhere that there were gangsters in their cities dedicated to the corruption of their children. Meanwhile, He lived happily in a Virginia mansion with Kitty and his 2 young daughters, going back to Rhode Island to sail as much as possible, although he was finding it increasingly difficult to do that because of the photographers who followed him everywhere. Sometimes Kitty was along on these trips, sometimes she was not. He had not lied to her. He had been unfaithful often, but he loved no one else. It was an arrangement which Kitty Madison, an intelligent woman, accepted handily. The picture on the television set in Cole Madison's office flickered now as the delegates to the Federation of Interstate Truckers Convention in Miami Beach applauded their new president. Johnny Kovac stood in front of them and said, "I'm going to get you the biggest pay hike in the history of this union. It's going to be the best pay of any union in the world. You work hard. You deserve the best. I'm going to see that you get it. I promise you that." The delegates roared. Cole Madison shut the set off. "What do you think, Dave?" He smiled. "Should I send Milano the telegram?" "Maybe we should look into Kovac as well," Dave Roberts said. "Let's just keep working on Milano now and see what turns up." Cole Madison laughed. "What is it?" Roberts asked. "Kovac. There's something about him," Cole Madison said. "You know what, Dave? I almost think I'd like him." They stood on the back porch of their home in Shaker Heights, arguing. Johnny was impatient. Anna was adamant. "But that's where I'm going to work," Johnny said. "You've got to come with me." "This is where I belong, Johnny. Not with all those people, those parties you've got to go to all the time." "You used to like parties." "That was different." "How is it so goddamn different? Tell me that." A door slammed. "Joey's home," she said. "Just tell me that, Anna. How was it?" "It was different," she said softly. "That's all." The boy ran to them, holding something in his hand. "Dad," he said excitedly, "look what I made you in school today." Johnny took his son's offering. It was a ceramic ashtray. "It's beautiful, Joey. Hey, Anna, look at this." "Don't you like it, Dad?" the boy said. He laughed. "I love it. What do you mean?" "Aren't you going to try it out?" Joey smiled. "Well, sure." He fumbled in his pockets. "I don't have any cigars." Anna said, "They're on top of the TV, Joey." The boy ran into the house. Anna held the ashtray and looked at it. "It's pretty, isn't it?" "There's all kinds of schools like that in D.C. Come on, Anna. I even checked." She kept her eyes on the ashtray. "You could come back here all the time, couldn't you? Couldn't you, Johnny? And I could go up there sometimes and—" He turned away from her. "Anna." His voice was choked. "Anna, is that how you want it?" "It's better this way," she said. He put his hand on her cheek. "Anna, please." "You'll see," she said softly. Joey ran toward them from the house. "I got your cigars, Daddy. I got 'em." His new Washington office looked remarkably old. The wood paneling had been ripped off the walls. His desk, piled high with account ledgers, was the old and battered desk he had used in Cleveland. On top of it were Gant's buzzer and Joey's ceramic ashtray. "They juggled the money all over the place," Vince Doyle said. "They'd take it out of one fund and stick it into the other." Johnny sat behind his desk, looking at a ledger. "Did you see what Graham spent on entertainment last year?" "I know, Johnny," Bernie Mars said. "We're not even sure where the pension fund investments were made." "God damn it," Johnny said. "Get those accountants we were talking about. I want them to go over all this stuff with a magnifying glass." They nodded and started out of the office. "And let's get rid of that public relations asshole." "There are 4 of them, Johnny," Bernie said. "Christ, can all of them?" Vince Doyle grinned. "Anything else?" "Yeah, keep an eye on Higgins. Bernie, you do it. Anything that's out of the ordinary in Cleveland, I want to handle. Every couple weeks, kick Tom in the ass." Doyle laughed. "Don't you think we're in good hands back there, Johnny?" "Very funny, Vince, but I ain't in the mood." Doyle laughed and the 2 of them walked out of the office. Johnny kept going over the ledgers. Karen Chandler walked in with an envelope. "All you people ever did around here he growled, was throw parties. She smiled. All we people? The entertainment money last year is a lot more than a lot of locals bring in. Well, she said, maybe you want me to cancel your reception tonight. He looked at her and grinned. You're a real wise guy, Chandler, aren't you? She smiled and put the envelope on his desk. It's the acceptance speech I wrote for Mr. Graham at the convention. What the hell do I want with it? I thought you'd enjoy reading it. She paused and smiled sweetly, considering the way it turned out. He laughed. Get the hell out of here, Chandler. I've got work to do. Yes, Mr. Kovac. She turned and walked out of his office. That night at the reception, Johnny wore a $300 tailored suit. He stood in the middle of the gathering with a bottle of beer in his hand. You have no idea, Senator, he said to a silver-haired elderly man, the things you can see from a rig. Honeymooners. He's driving, she's starting the honeymoon right there on the road. The senator laughed. The rig gives you a real overview of life, Johnny said. I didn't realize you had driving experience, the senator said. I drove enough. It taught me about life, the senator smiled. But what can you learn about life in a truck? Never to hit the brake when stepping on the gas can get you out of a tight squeeze. Never to step on the gas when hitting the brake can keep you out of a ditch. The senator laughed. And another thing, Senator. You've got a big wheel in a truck and you've got a big load. Either you've got the muscle to move the wheel fast or the load's going to come down on top of your head. The senator looked at him, assessing him. Yes, that's a valuable lesson, he said. Karen Chandler interrupted them. Cole Madison was with her. Mr. Kovac, do you know Senator Madison, the chairman of the Senate Rackets Committee? Sure, Johnny said. He shook hands. Glad you came by, Senator. What's the Senate Racket Committee up to nowadays? Oh, Cole Madison smiled. Investigating push of various kinds. Johnny grinned. Push is something I bet every politician knows a lot about. Even politicians in the labor movement, Mr. Kovac? Johnny laughed. I'm no politician, Senator. I'm just a street kid from the slums. Yes, of course you are, Cole Madison smiled. Well, I have to be leaving. Congratulations, incidentally. Thank you. And give my regards to Babe Milano. Johnny grinned. You know Babe? Only by reputation, Cole Madison smiled. I'll do that. Leaving so early, Senator? It was Karen Chandler. I've got an early game of tennis. He turned to Johnny. Do you play, Mr. Kovac? Handball. I could never afford a racket. Madison laughed. A tennis racket, you mean? Johnny grinned. Yeah. Too bad, Cole Madison said. I would have enjoyed playing you. He said goodbye to Karen Chandler and walked out the door. Johnny watched him as he left. Her apartment was in Georgetown. It was small but tastefully furnished. Prints, ferns, Persian rugs, fresh flowers. Johnny sat on a couch, his legs stretched across a coffee table, his tie loose. She stood at a portable bar. What would you like? Karen Chandler said. Give me a beer. You got any bourbon? I think I can find some. She poured him the bourbon. Don't you ever drink anything else? Ain't it classy enough for you? She handed him the shot and the beer. Do you really like this stuff, or is it just part of your street kid routine? He grinned. What are you drinking? Benedictine and brandy. That's cat piss. Thank you, she lifted her glass. Cat piss to you, too. Johnny laughed. She sat down on a couch across from him. You're the expert on shitheads in this town, Chandler. What's Madison like? For openers, he's not one of the shitheads in this town. What else? Rich, good-looking, he smiled. Give me the goods. Let's see. Ambitious. Many people think he's going to be president someday. Some say he's ruthless. Some say he's idealistic. He's married. His wife is an heir to a soap fortune, I think. Or was it steel? Does he fuck around on the fortune? Who doesn't fuck around in Washington? He grinned. What do you hear? She looked at him. Why? I want to know, that's why. He has a certain reputation. He's a very magnetic man." He laughed. "You sound like you." "I never had the pleasure." "I didn't mean," she smiled. "Of course you did." "You like that kind of guy?" "I like to see what's inside them." "What's Madison got inside him?" "I'm not sure. You'll have to find out yourself." She sipped her drink. "Why are you so interested in Cole Madison?" "I get interested in any guy that's interested in me." "Who says he's interested in you?" "He says." "I didn't hear him say that." He grinned. "I did." "Well," she said, "it's getting late." "You want me to go?" She smiled. "Why would I want you to stay?" "What if I want to stay?" "Sorry, that's not part of my job." "I didn't think it was," he said. She smiled. "Do you fuck around on your wife?" He grinned. What'd you call it? I'm a magnetic guy." She smiled. She looked at him. "I bet you're a terrible lay." "What the hell thing is that to say?" She laughed. "Did I embarrass you? I'm sorry." "I'll see you around, Chandler." He got up and put his coat on. He went to the door. "I didn't say I wanted you to go," she said. She got up and went to him. She kissed him on the lips once, gently. "Did I?" Afterward, as they lay in bed in silence, she smoked a cigarette. Johnny sipped from a glass of bourbon. "How come you got bored with your life?" he said. "Who told you that?" "I'm asking the questions." "Does it matter?" "Yeah." "Why?" "I like to know what I'm getting myself into." "You mean who, not what," she said. "You've got a dirty mouth, Chandler." She smiled. "Don't you like my mouth?" "Come on, I asked you." "Yes, sir, Mr. Kovac." "Christ." She smiled. "I was disillusioned," she said. "I'd lost my innocence." She laughed sarcastically. "Who was he?" "A whole series of things." He grinned. "Gangbang." "So to speak." "Where'd the chip on your shoulder come from?" She smiled. "You don't like my shoulder either? What else don't you like?" "Forget it." She laughed. "I grew up in Richmond. My father was an executive. He was never home. My mother wanted me to be a nun." He laughed. "A nun? You?" She smiled. "I know. I discovered that myself and went to college. I believed a lot of garbage." "Like what?" "I read too much." "It screws up your eyes." "You're right. I believed in change, in making things better." "What happened?" "I got out of school and came up to work on the hill." He grinned. "To make things better?" "Yes." "Beautiful." "Yes." "So?" "So I got bored with my life and came to work for Graham." "You still bored?" She looked at him. "I don't know. Have you got any other questions?" He grinned. "You still think I'm a terrible lay?" "I need more proof." He laughed. "Smart mouth." She got out of the bed. "I thought you said it was dirty." "Where you going, smart mouth?" "To take a shower." She turned to him, naked. "Do you want to take one?" "I already took one today." "Not with me." He looked at her. "What's the matter, Kovac?" She smiled. "Haven't you ever taken a shower with a lady?" Much of his first month as the national president of F.I.S.T was spent at truck stops all over Pennsylvania and Maryland. In Breezewood, Pennsylvania, at a place called the Mid-America Truck Terminal, a place which offered complete laundry and diesel service, he sat in a room on a folding chair, surrounded by truckers, many of them wearing baseball caps and T-shirts. There were 2 wall-sized posters in the room, one of a naked girl standing in front of a Mack truck, the other of a truck in a rainstorm, the arms of Christ protecting it. "At the warehouse, see?" one of the truckers said to him. "They put all the weight on the back of the trailer. It ought to go as much up front as—" "Hey," Johnny grinned. "I don't need no lessons from you guys loading a truck." The trucker gave him a buck-toothed smile. "So they put it on the rear 'cause they're gonna get nailed at the weigh station for having too much damn weight on one axle." "Which would cost the company dough," Johnny said. "With the weight in the rear, Johnny, the rig—" "I know. It jitters all over the road. It's causing a lot of accidents, Johnny. Too many, another trucker said. That shit's gonna stop, Johnny said. I'll tell you that. Another thing that gets me, the trucker said. Johnny interrupted him and turned to Bernie Marr. Round me up a bowl of chili, will you, Bernie? And let's get all these jugs filled up again. Bernie collected the driver's thermos bottles. The fucking dispatchers, Johnny, the trucker said. What about 'em? To get a load, I gotta tip the son of a bitch. Every damn trip he wants more. No more tips, Johnny said. I promise you. Outside, in the vast parking lot, they showed him their rigs. Johnny, one of them said, let me show you where I'm supposed to sleep in mine. He took him to the big Peterbilt and opened the passenger door. Johnny grinned. I ain't getting in the business side of no rig. They laughed. Johnny climbed into the cab on the driver's side with the trucker. The trucker showed him a sleeping compartment with a thin mattress on top of a board. Now how in hell's a man supposed to sleep in here, Johnny? What company you with? Johnny said. Knowles. Bernie, Johnny yelled. Write that down. Fuck Knowles. The men laughed, and as he and Bernie headed back to their battered old Plymouth, they slapped him on the back and shook his hand again. He waved to them. My old man used to say, he said to Bernie, if a trucker will shake your hand, you got it knocked. Did he really say that? Bernie said. What do you mean? He looked at Bernie and laughed. Karen Chandler sat in his office, taking notes. Johnny was in his shirt sleeves. He looked tired and drawn. I want a breakdown of all their profits, he said. Get those hotshot accountants on it. By region? Every single company that their trucking association represents. Annually? Month to month, broken down separate, exact dollars and cents. Right. Then have the accountants total the whole son of a bitch up and estimate a figure that companies will lose if we got out. Anything else? Yeah, I want you to dig out all the contracts Graham got. All of them? Every single goddamn year. What do you want that for? So I can show the contract we're gonna get is better on every single point, that's why. Is that it? That's it for now, he said. She got up and looked at him, then started out, but she hesitated. You're sweating, she said. Huh? She smiled. You're sweating. I always sweat when I'm working. You need a shower. A shower? I've got a shower at my place. He laughed. Get the hell out of here, Chandler, will you? The regional vice presidents of the Federation of Interstate Truckers were gathered around the conference table, aging, paunchy men who wore tailored suits and smoked Cuban cigars. Johnny stalked about the room, talking to them. They listened impassively. I want you to talk to your men. I want you to get yourself seen. I want you to go down to the truck stops. One of them smiled. Johnny glared at him. What's so funny, Cavelli? You want me to climb into the rig too, Johnny? Make a run? There were a few laughs. No, Cavelli, I wouldn't ask you to do that, Johnny said. The shape you're in, you'd get a heart attack. The men laughed. I want to know what the guys in the different regions are bitching about, Johnny said. He turned to one of the men. When's the last time you've been inside a warehouse, McQuinn? I've been busy with the routine, Johnny. Johnny turned on him. Bullshit. 9 holes every morning and getting your nails done in the afternoon. That's what you've been busy. We've got a contract coming up. It's going to be the best national contract this union's ever had. Any union's had. 2 weeks from now, I want all of you back here to tell me what you found out. Johnny, Cavelli said quietly, I've got a regional meeting in 2 weeks. Yeah? Where? Cavelli hesitated. In Acapulco. The men laughed. Johnny stood there, grinning at them. This is a whole new crap game, gents. I've got the role. There ain't no more fucking Acapulco. And that is the end of Chapter 16 of F.I.S.T. Thank you for listening to the Workers' Reading Room. Have a good evening.